What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to my YouTube channel. All right, we're gonna attempt to refurbish this controller and replace the joysticks. This is an original Xbox S controller, basically the most popular controller for the original Xbox. This is an actual original Xbox controller. It's not the Duke. Not a big fan of the Duke. The Duke is a much bigger controller, and we're actually going to be replacing them with original Xbox controller joysticks. These are not the 360 ones, which a lot of people have done videos on. These are the actual original ones. So we're going to be replacing those. So this is my first time doing it. So let's see how this goes. And you can see the quality, how nasty it is. We've got some alcohol. We've got a microfiber towel. And looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 screws to remove, and there's definitely one hiding in this indentation. I'm personally going to be using this controller as a testing controller. Normally, I'd probably use a blow dryer. I do have a heat gun, but that might melt this actual label here. So we're just going to remove this with a razor blade and where did my tweezers go here? I don't really have nails, but I'm going to peel this off here slowly. And you can see it's definitely original in there. And we're not going to peel the whole thing off, but we're going to start with this screw here. And to keep track of all of our screws, we're just going to use a coin capsule so they don't go flying everywhere. I've taken apart controllers before. I don't think I've taken apart an Xbox original controller before. I'm old enough, though, to know this system and own this brand new. And the main reason I'm doing this is I was able to purchase 6 additional controllers, all of which looked pretty trash, but I got a good price on them. So I'm doing this as a learning experience, seeing how long it takes. And I'll probably be on the lookout for stuff like this out in the wild, because I ended up purchasing 20 of these. So I'm able to replace the joysticks on 10 total controllers. These joystick things are actually not that cheap. They're probably about $1 each. So, but a lot of times you can pick up these controllers and the joysticks are all mangled, and probably most likely you can pick them up at garage sales as well. I did notice there's like a couple of resellers on Amazon and eBay that sell like an aftermarket controller, and I've seen some reviews on it, and it's pretty bad, meaning it does not do a good job of having the response time, especially if you're playing like the original games like Halo or any of the shooter games. You want these to be dead on. Like, you don't want a junky made in China aftermarket. I mean, it's fine if you're a little kid, you don't play shooter games, but if you're playing the shooter games or you want that original Xbox feel, you definitely want to have an original controller. Now, these controllers still do exist brand new. They're really expensive. People have sealed ones listed on eBay for $200. So again, my goal is if I can pick up a controller for around $8 and put $2 worth of joysticks in them, I'll have $10 total in the controller and easily be able to sell it refurbished for $25 plus shipping on eBay to double my money. But again, a lot of it has to do with labor itself. People don't like to put the time and effort into it. So let me make sure I took out all the screws here, because I've been talking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure I got some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 7 screws. This is not coming apart. Looks like this is the next piece that comes off. Unless this thing's just all nasty. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like... Alright, so you have to peel it off like this. I'm going to do this so the buttons don't go flying. And then these controllers always have 2 rumble mechanisms inside to give you that real life game feeling. Alright, I'm going to be careful while I open this. Okay, so one rumble stays in there and the other one is like that. So we'll take that out. Make sure we don't do anything crazy here while we pull this out. Alright, and so we're just going to pull these off. And that's the old nasty one. Here's the brand new one. These line up pretty well. I think these only go in one way, so there's like a flat part on here, and then the other part is round. So when putting it in, make sure that clicks well, and we'll pull this one off. That's a flat part, and then there's the flat part here. Alright, so those click nicely. They feel good. The triggers underneath feel good. While I'm in here, I might as well do a little bit of cleaning. It's not that bad. Also, what I'm looking for is to make sure that there's no rust or anything nasty inside, making the controller absolute garbage. So we're just going to go in here with some alcohol and just polish those parts off. What is that in there? It's like wood. That's so gross. Dude, really, what is that? Alright, well that's one of the rumble. So there's like a small rumble and a big rumble here. I don't really want to take the whole board out, but yeah, that's just weird. It's like some old nastiness in there. Well, alright, I believe this goes back like this, I think. And then this is the button side. So while we're in here, let's take a look at this. So that goes in like that. And probably clean this off. Spray it a little bit with some alcohol, get the dust out of there. Got that all clean. And I mean, I guess we can take the buttons out. See how it kind of gets a little, there, focus in here. It's a little crust around the button, so I guess while we got this thing open, might as well spend the time and wipe the buttons down. Get the nasty crust off of them. And then, I don't know, should I take this whole thing out and just like clean it? Probably be faster. Alright, well, remember the yellow, well actually all the buttons only fit a certain way, so even if you were to take them out, they only go in one way, so I guess that's a full manufacturing process that prevents them making a mistake at the factory and putting the buttons in the wrong department. Alright, we're going to do one of these a piece here. Yeah, that's nasty. So again, this is just for educational purposes. I know other people on YouTube have done videos on this, but no one's like really done one recently. And the ones I've seen on YouTube are kind of crappy. So I figured I'll just do this one at a time, make it nice and slow. So, but yeah, that's gross. Ugh. I should have worn gloves. Too late now. I already have my hands dirty because I was fixing up a lighter, an antique lighter from 1953. I didn't make a video on it because I didn't know what I was doing. Plus, I didn't want to break that thing as that's really expensive. But yeah, these buttons clean off real nice. Yeah, there's definitely like some funky comedina going on inside those areas, so I'm gonna just like completely wash this outside of it. And then I think this is the black and white button. I don't know, is that kind of like the select start? It's been so long since I played Xbox, I forgot all the buttons, but I'm sure it'll come back to me. Sorry, I'm like wiping this off camera. And then this is the white button. Again, that's totally nasty. So this is what I'm doing. I'm basically taking it in the towel, spraying it with some alcohol, and getting that off. Now, I remember as a kid, I was like 10 years old, and I had an Intellivision, and the controllers would get gross because we just played them like crazy. And our Nintendo controller, the original Nintendo NES, would get gross. And taking those apart was super easy because, like, dude, there was like two buttons. I'm sorry. There was a D-pad, select start, and A and B. So it was not as complicated as something like this. But this really isn't that bad. Here are the back buttons. So those, again, let's see if those, yeah, those can only be put in a certain way. And that's like it's like a connected button. And yeah, that's got some nastiness on it as well. So I'm pretty confident of doing one of these controllers. Now, I definitely probably wouldn't be as confident with something that I'm not familiar with. So like the brand new Xbox controllers, plus aren't those like $100? So you would imagine those things are built like a tank. Now, these controllers back in the day, they were expensive as well. I want to say they were at least $35 brand new. So it's kind of cool that they've held their retail value for a used one. You know, a nice used one, completely rehabbed, is I should be able to ask $30. Again, I would put in description like, hey, I've taken this controller apart, I've cleaned every single button and tested it, so on and so forth. All right, so this is the actual D-pad. So again, that only goes in one way as well. So when you're taking these apart, you really don't have to worry about making a mistake. And there's a little sparkle in there, so that leads me to believe that someone with sparkle makeup, or a female or a little girl with some kind of sparkle, played with this controller and used it back in the day, because it could be a boy too, I guess, if he's into sparkles. But it's just funny how stuff magically ends up in there. Oh man, again, I'm cleaning this off camera, sorry. Alright, so that's nice and clean. Now, we've got all our parts set to the side here. So those are our buttons that have all been cleaned, and they only go in one way, so we don't have to worry about messing that up. And then here the D-pad is very, very nasty. So it's not nasty on the back here, but just the front side of it's gross, and I'm having trouble taking this out. Maybe this doesn't come out. Oh, it's got two little itty bitty screws in there. Alright, well, no one's ever done a video on that, so let's get that taken out. That's cool. So I learned something here. Yeah, no one's ever taken the D-pad out on any of the videos that I've watched. So we're just going to loosen these two screws, and then set those. Again, I got my little tray here. But look at all this stuff that's like just appeared from just this controller. It's kind of gross when you think about it. Like, that's like old skin, food, you name it. All right, let's see if this comes out now. I've taken the 2 screws out of it. It still doesn't come out. All right, what was the point of that? How do you get this out? Is this not supposed to come out? Is this detached from the other side? All right, well, I'm confused. I thought that would pop right out. So what was the point of those 2 screws then? It's got to be held in by something. Let's see here. Oh, there's 2 little clips inside. There's a clip here and a clip there. So you got to like kind of move the clip and then that'll pop out. All right, well, that's going to require 2 little screwdrivers. Or in this case, let me see if this works. I've got a pin remover tool that's usually used for watches. So I'm going to set that in there and then that one on the other side. Hope I don't break it. Alright, they just pushed right out. I didn't break it either. So see, these are the 2 little clips inside. They're on that D-pad. And now that part is out. And look at all that beautiful nastiness that's inside there. So that's pretty cool. So again, to let you guys see it, again, I've never seen a D-pad removal, but it's basically like that. It only goes in one way, and then these things clip in, and then you have to put in these teeny tiny screws. And make sure you use the right kind of screwdriver so you don't strip the screws, because that would not be good. But all right, well, while we have this up, we don't have to clean this part because that was inside, but this part is yummy, so we'll definitely clean that one. We'll get that all nice and as possible. Oh man, it's really nasty in there, in the little crevices. And I probably didn't have to remove this to get this clean, but man, it's so bad. I had to clean it twice just to get in these little crevices of the D-pad. I do have like little itty bitty like toothpick type cleaning tools for like iPhones or like the speakers of your cell phone, like really, really tiny parts. But yeah, I don't think it would really work for this because this is requiring a lot of force. And those little itty bitty toothpick tools with little Q-tips on the end are really for like just getting into intricate areas. But you place any force, the little cotton part falls right off. All right, so that is probably as clean as that has ever been. And I guess now I can see nothing else comes off, like this Xbox symbol. It always has like a little rubbery feeling, but let's get this whole thing sprayed. I'll let that soak in. And then like on the edges or... Alright, so while that is soaking, grab another. Grab another towel here. And then I'm going to just get on all the edges where the controllers connect from one side to the front to the back. Because this is where all the little funkiness can get inside. And it's just gross. Like, probably a little above and beyond what you need to do, but hey, well, we got it apart. Might as well use it as a learning experience, right? And again, it's not going to be perfect, but one thing that is nice about these controllers is they're already black, so you don't, like older controllers, man, I'm sure like even the white ones, they like start to turn like yellow or nasty. And then I know there's like kits where you can kind of like bleach them back to original game-like thing with like a light box or UV light. But if you were to do that with the Xbox controller, you'd probably like mess up the black finish to this. All right, well, that's looking as good as it can. I mean, there's definitely some inner crusty areas here that are a little more stubborn. But all in all, I believe when I put these buttons back, it should look pretty decent. Man, even like in these little crevices, it's like gotta get in there with like your nail and a towel and just scrape away. Alright, so this is both sides of it. I have seen like other videos too where they take apart controllers and there's like a cricket inside. That was nasty. I hope it was a cricket. It could have been something else, like a cockroach. But it's like, dude, how do you get a bug inside your controller, right? Unless it's just weird that a bug would want to go in there. All right, so while this is drying, we're now going to reassemble the buttons. And we're going to start with our D-pad because that does require screws. So, let's see, I think it went like this. Nope, screws are like that for sure. And then we're going to make sure this is lined up with where the screws go. And then our two clips. Oops, we're putting it in upside down. That's what's up with this controller. You can only put it in the right way. Alright, well this top part, see, goes into that niche. And let's see how the screws are lined up. Oh, the screws are actually lined up this way. So you got to do it like that. And I'm pretty sure the D-pad, oh, that'll be all jacked up though. Hold on, it's got to be like this. What the heck? Alright, hold on. So if the D-pad goes in like that, okay. Alright. So, okay, it is kind of sideways. Alright, well let's do this. Let's put in the back part first. And then you really can't screw it up because this doesn't turn once you get it in that little pocket up there. Alright, and then you just clip it in. But don't forget your little screws. So we're going to take our little silver screws here. Put those back where they need to go. And here's our second screw. Alright, that's nice and in there. And then we're going to take our back buttons here. Our back and start buttons. And again, you can't really screw it up because it only goes in one way. So like that. And then this was our D-pad rubber thingy that we cleaned off. And again, that only goes in one way. So really can't screw that up. And then our buttons, we're going to go with, I think, our white one. Again, you know what it reminds me of? Did you guys ever play that puzzle pop-up perfection game where like the pieces only fit in a certain way, but then like you're on a timer, so it adds like extra stress, meaning like if you don't do it right, the whole thing would like pop up and explode in your face. Yeah, that was a nice stressful game as a child playing, but it did help you come up with better reaction time and learn how to deal with pressure. Alright, well those are all our buttons are back. And this thing here only, oh dude, look at it. There's stuff on here still because it's like rubber. See that? Make sure that's nice and clean. Alright, so that only goes in a certain, man, there's still crap on these buttons. So this like rubber material does tend to like hold stuff on it. So when you have it out, just make sure there's like no hair or animal hair stuff or whatever. Alright, so that goes on nice like that. So we've got our D-pad back in, we've got our back and start button, and then we've got our button pads back in. So this is ready to be reassembled. We've replaced the joystick part. I didn't really clean the back of this yet or get inside here because who really cares about that part? No one really cares how the back of the controller looks, although I will do a little sweepage after I'm done. I'll do a little cleaning on it, but I don't know how this goes in. Does it go in like this? Like, how does this go in? Oh, well, it looks like these little indentations are from this part, and then there's more indentations here, so I don't think it goes in like this. I think it's more of a flat thing like that. But then look how close that is to the thing, but I guess as long as it spins, like, that's all that matters. It's just weird how loose that is. Alright, well let's get this reassembled. So again, we want to keep the buttons facing down, because if we pick this up and try and put it up face up, that'd be bad. And I guess this little rumble pad thingy here can go in to this slot here. Let's see if I can show you guys that. So how does this go in? Like this? Oh, there we go. Fits in just right, real nice. See that? So put that in there like that. The other one's already installed up here, and oh, we lost the back. Alright, well, we might as well install it like this then. Well, yeah, this is a nice opportunity to show you the buttons. I guess while we're in here, we can get some of this crust off on the side. See all that from the trigger. Trigger is definitely a heavily used button. So, but I've seen guys like take these apart and put oil. Like, I don't know about putting oil in these things. Like, as long as the spring works, I don't think you need to oil it, because oil eventually turns into dirt, and that's probably not a good thing to have with your controller. And I know a lot of times too, like, these things get all raggedy because kids will pull on them, or adults will pull on them, or get pissed and just throw the controller. But that just goes in a niche like that. And then I guess it'd be pretty easy to change these rumble motors out if they ever went bad. I'm sure there's places that sell it. It looks just like a little red and black pin. You just pull it out and you just replace the motor in case you ever have a motor that goes bad. But yeah, this all looks good. This looks nice and clean. I'm not going to spray that part. I guess while we have the back open, we can do a little crust removal on the edges here, and get a little spray on there. So again, when you're using alcohol, you don't have to worry about where you spray, because you're not going to damage any boards. Now, if you're using like low alcohol, like 40%, and the rest is water, that probably could be bad and result in rust. So I'm using this 90% stuff, so it's fine. And then I'm just getting into all the little nooks and crannies of the controller. And in the little spaces here. Alright, so let's see how this goes back on. So it looks like we have to go on an angle get our controller back in together. Looks like that slides in. Do this without making it explode. This is like where I think the memory cards or whatever used to go. So, but I can get in there and clean that. So you don't have to take the controller apart for that. But yeah, it looks like we've got this all together and sealed. I didn't put the screws in yet, but just wanted to show it. Test all the buttons, make sure they feel buttony. Replace the joystick, the D-pad, the back, and the start button. So yeah, everything feels good. And then the triggers feel good. Everything feels springy, and it's making a nice connection feeling. So ultimately, we'll get this tested. I'm not going to film screwing these back in because that part's boring, but hopefully this video helped you guys to have confidence to take one of these apart. Just have the proper screwdriver and patience. Don't pull on stuff. And again, when you're taking it apart, make sure it's buttons facing down, because if you take it apart like this and you pull it off, buttons will explode and go everywhere. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and this will help you refurbish your own Xbox controller. I purchased all these items direct from eBay, other eBay resellers, including the buttons. I'm not going to put a link for them in my page, because if you see this 2 or 3 years later, who knows if that store will still be around. So hopefully you guys liked the video, and appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. I will be doing some other videos on other things that I take apart around the house, and other video game type related material. So appreciate you guys watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.